Okay, let's dive into this mountain of Pop Mart data.
Pop Mart, the company that's like really changing how we think about toys these days, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially those trendy toys.
Exactly, yeah.
We've got some serious reports here from Guangfa Securities, Goosen Securities, and BOCOM International.
Oh, wow. Those are some heavy hitters.
They are, and they're all like really excited about Pop Mart's growth.
Especially with those blind boxes, right?
Yeah, blind box market. So today we're going to try to figure out why these analysts are so bullish.
Right. Like, what's the secret sauce? What are they doing that's working so well?
And, are they going to like take over the whole world? Global domination.
World domination, yeah, that's the question.
So to get started, I think we need to understand what makes Pop Mart tick.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be looking at the psychology behind, those blind boxes.
The psychology, fascinating.
The power of their intellectual property.
IP, the characters, all that.
And how they use, like, cultural trends to win over consumers all over the world.
Oh, yeah, they're really good at that, like tapping into what people want.
So the Gozen report, they highlight this crazy growth in China's trendy toy market.
Yeah, it's insane.
They said it went from like 6.8 billion yuan back in 2015
yeah.
to a huge 600 billion yuan in 2023.
Wow, that's incredible. That's like, what, an annual growth rate of over 30%?
Yeah, over 30% every single year. And BOCOM, they're predicting it'll hit 760 billion next year.
2024. I mean, it's not just a fad at this point, right? It's like a major trend.
So what do you think is driving this crazy growth?
Well, the reports, they say it's younger people, you know?
Younger generation?
Yeah, they don't just see these toys as like playthings.
Right.
It's more about like expressing who they are.
Yeah, it's part of their identity.
Exactly, and they can build these like really unique collections.
That reflect their interests.
Yeah, their interests, their values.
It's a new way to express themselves.
Totally, and the blind box model, it's like it fuels that desire.
The blind boxes.
Yeah, both Goosen and BOCOM, they go deep into the psychology behind them.
I gotta admit, I kind of get it, The surprise.
It is exciting, right? It's like, what am I going to get?
You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, like a little lottery.
BOCOM, they actually found the top 3 reasons why people buy blind boxes for the first time.
Oh, interesting. What are they?
Number 1, the thrill of the unknown.
Makes sense.
Number 2, wanting to collect the whole set.
Got to catch them all.
Right. And number 3, just plain curiosity.
I can see that, definitely.
But I think it goes even deeper than that.
Deeper.
BOCOM says that blind boxes tap into our need for, like, companionship.
Companionship from a toy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, self-expression.
Yeah.
Even, like, emotional connection.
So it's not just about the toy itself.
No.
It's about, like, what it represents, the feeling you get.
So when you get that rare figure,
yeah,
it's like you're joining this club.
A secret club of collectors.
And Pop Mart, they've really fostered this sense of community.
Oh, yeah, they're smart.
Online forums, events, social media, the whole thing.
They get it, People want that connection, especially in a digital world.
BOCOM actually gives Pop Mart credit for, like, redefining the Chinese toy industry.
Redefining it? How so?
They've shifted away from, like, traditional toys for kids.
Right.
They're targeting young adults, like 15 to 35 years old.
Smart move. That demographic has more money to spend.
Exactly. And they want something, a little more sophisticated.
They want toys that are, like, artistic, culturally significant.
So Pop Mart is making these, like, objects of desire.
Not just plastic toys.
Mini works of art.
That people actually want to display, yeah.
And all 3 reports, they talk about Pop Mart's IP strategy.
IP strategy, that's key.
They've got these beloved characters.
Like Skullpanda, right.
Yeah.
And Molly.
Oh, and the monsters, yeah.
Each one has its own, like, personality, its own fan base. It's like they've cracked the code for creating these iconic characters.
And they keep things fresh, New characters, new stories.
Gosen talks about their IP matrix, how they manage it all.
It's not just about the characters, it's about building a whole universe around them.
Right. Expanding the story, using them for different products.
Licensing deals, collaborations.
They've really mastered the art of creating this, like, multifaceted brand experience.
Blind boxes, designer toys.
Apparel, accessories, even themed cafes.
It's a whole ecosystem.
And it's working, clearly.
What's amazing is that Pop Mart, they don't just rely on those big IPs.
No.
They actually seek out up-and-coming artists.
Oh, that's cool. Supporting new talent.
BOCOM says they've signed over 350 artists so far.
Wow, that's a lot.
And they even have their own in-house design team.
Really? And then they've made some successful IPs too, right?
Yeah, like Bobo and Coco.
I've seen those. They're cute.
It's like they're creating a talent incubator.
Yeah, keeping the ideas flowing.
And Goosen, they note that Pop Mart's international revenue has just exploded.
Exploded. That's what we want to talk about, right?
Yep, expanding into global markets. We'll get into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait. This is getting good.
All right, so we're back and ready to dig into Pop Mart's global ambitions, see if they can really make it on the world stage.
Yeah, it's a big step.
Yeah.
Going from dominating one market to trying to win over the whole world.
Goosen mentioned their overseas revenue is skyrocketing. But I'd love to get into specifics, like what kind of numbers are we talking about here?
Well, Biocom actually breaks it down, and it's pretty impressive. Their overseas revenue for the first half of 2024 hit a whopping 1.35 billion yuan.
1.35 billion. That's massive.
Yeah.
And where's most of this revenue coming from?
Their offline retail stores are playing a huge role. They brought in 890 million yuan in the first half of the year, just from overseas stores.
That's incredible. And that's like a, 441.5% increase compared to last year?
Yep, 441.5%.
Yeah.
It's clear their brick-and-mortar strategy is working really well for them.
So they're killing it with physical stores, but are they neglecting online sales?
Not at all. Actually, Biocom highlights their online expansion, particularly in Southeast Asia, on platforms like Shopee and Lazada.
Southeast Asia makes sense, right? It's a young market with a growing middle class, perfect for Pop Mart.
Exactly. And their online sales numbers in Southeast Asia are really impressive, too. Sales on Shopee jumped by 205%, and on Lazada, it was even higher, a 388% increase.
So it's a two-pronged approach. They're hitting both online and offline channels.
And doing successfully. It shows they're really good at adapting their strategy to different markets and cultures.
Speaking of adapting, let's go back to the psychology of blind boxes for a minute. We've talked about how popular they are, but how does Pop Mart keep that going? Make sure it's not just a passing fad.
That's where things get really interesting. Biocom actually links the lasting appeal of blind boxes to this deeper human need for companionship.
Companionship, I wouldn't have thought of that. How do they connect?
Think about it. Each Pop Mart figure has its own personality, its own story. Collectors aren't just buying a toy, they're building a world of characters they feel connected to.
So it's not just about the surprise or completing a set, it's about forming an emotional bond with these figures.
And by extension, with other collectors who share that passion.
Pop Mart has really tapped into this desire for connection, especially in a world that can feel so isolating sometimes.
It's a brilliant move. They've combined the tangible joy of collecting with that intangible need for belonging.
Okay, so we've talked about the good stuff. But what about the challenges? What potential hurdles does Pop Mart face?
Well, there's always the risk of the blind box trend fading out. And competition is fierce.
Lots of companies want a piece of the pie. So how are they addressing these challenges?
Biocom points to Pop Mart's diversification strategy. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket. They're branching out beyond blind boxes, offering designer toys, plush toys apparel even.
So they're expanding their product range, catering to different tastes.
Exactly. And Gozen emphasizes the importance of building a strong brand identity. They're creating immersive experiences for fans like theme parks, exhibitions, online communities.
They're going beyond just selling products. They're creating a whole brand experience.
And that helps them stand out in a crowded market, solidify their position as a cultural force.
So far, they've seen incredible success in Southeast Asia. But can they replicate that in Western markets like Europe and North America?
That's the question, isn't it? It's a different landscape, different cultural nuances, different consumer preferences.
Can they adjust?
Biocom emphasizes the importance of localization in Pop Mart's global expansion.
Localization, not just translating packaging, but really understanding the culture.
Exactly. It's about tailoring their approach to resonate with Western values and tastes.
Are they doing anything specific to achieve that?
They're investing heavily in market research, collaborating with local artists and designers, adapting their products and marketing.
So they're not just trying to force a Chinese product on Western consumers.
No, they're actively listening, learning and evolving their strategy.
And they're experimenting with different business models in different regions.
For example, in North America, they're focusing more on online sales and partnerships with specialty retailers.
Which is different from their flagship store approach in Asia.
It shows flexibility and a willingness to adapt, which is essential for any brand aiming for global success.
We've talked a lot about Pop Mart targeting young adults, but their products seem like they could appeal to kids too. How do they manage that?
It's a good point, and the reports do address this. While their main focus remains on the 15 to 35 age group, they're not completely ignoring the younger demographic.
So how do they appeal to both groups without alienating either one?
Biocommon notes that PopMart uses a strategy of segmentation. They have different product lines and marketing efforts tailored to specific age groups.
So some IPs or designs might be more kid-friendly, while others are clearly aimed at adults.
Exactly. And they use different distribution channels to reach those audiences. For example, they might sell kid-friendly products in toy stores or online marketplaces frequented by parents.
While their more adult-focused products might be found in boutique stores or online platforms geared toward young adults.
It's all about understanding consumer psychology and creating a targeted approach.
All right, so we've covered their strategies, their growth potential, but what about their actual financial performance?
The reports paint a very positive picture. PopMart's revenue growth has been phenomenal.
Can you give us some specific numbers?
Gozen highlights their compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, which has consistently exceeded 30% over the past few years.
That's impressive, but revenue is only part of the story. Are they actually profitable?
Yes, all three reports confirm that PopMart is a profitable company with healthy margins.
Great to hear. Can you quantify that profitability?
Biocom forecasts that their net profit margin will be around 19% in the coming years.
That's a very healthy margin, especially for a company operating in a relatively new and rapidly evolving market.
It shows they're managing costs effectively while driving revenue growth. This financial stability is key for their expansion plans and their continued innovation.
So PopMart seems to have it all: strong, brand-beloved IPs, a smart business model, a growing market, a solid expansion strategy, and strong financials.
It's a powerful combination, and it explains why analysts are so optimistic about their future.
But we can't forget that the trendy toy market can be fickle. Consumer tastes change quickly, and competition is fierce.
You're right, past performance doesn't guarantee future success.
That's why it's crucial to stay informed, understand the market, and critically analyze a company's strategy and performance.
And that's what we try to do here on the Deep Dive.
Oh.
We provide the insights and analysis to help you make sense of complex business landscapes.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, exploring PopMart's business model, their growth, and their place in the trendy toy market.
It's been fascinating to see how they've managed to achieve such success in such a short time.
And as we wrap up this part, I want to leave you with a thought. Can PopMart really replicate their success in Western markets like Europe and North America?
That's a question we'll tackle in Part 3 of our Deep Dive.
Stay tuned to explore the challenges and opportunities that await PopMart in their quest for global domination. So we're back, and it's time to really tackle this question of PopMart conquering the West.
Yeah, can they do it?
Mm-hmm.
Can they really make it in Europe and North America? That's the big question.
Biocom's report, it actually goes into their Western expansion strategy, and it's pretty interesting.
They're not just jumping in head first, are they?
No, they're being very strategic about it, like a phased approach.
Makes sense. Test the waters a bit first.
Yeah, so instead of going straight for the U.S. market, they're looking at places that already have a taste for Asian pop culture.
Oh, like the UK, France, maybe even Canada.
Yeah.
Places where anime and manga are already popular.
Exactly. They're starting with markets that are a little more receptive, I guess.
They probably already have a base of customers who are open to PopMart's style.
Yeah, so it's like building a foundation before you build a skyscraper, right?
A solid foundation makes sense.
But even with the right market, they still need to adapt, Make sure their products and marketing work for Western tastes.
Localization, that's key, right? Like we talked about before.
Biocom mentioned some collaborations with Western artists to design specific products for those regions.
Yeah, they talked about this really cool collaboration with a French street artist.
A street artist? Wow, that's interesting.
It was for a limited edition series of figures, just for that market.
So they're not just sticking to their existing IPs, they're branching out.
They're really trying to bridge those cultural gaps, and I think that's smart.
But it's a balancing act, right?
Definitely. They need to stay true to their brand while appealing to new customers.
So what are some of the big challenges they face in the West?
Competition, for one thing, it's way more intense in those markets.
They've got Lego, Hasbro, all those big names to contend with.
Plus a ton of other pop culture collectibles.
So how do they stand out?
Their marketing has to be really strong.
Yeah.
Biocom talked about experiential marketing.
What is that exactly?
It's about creating these immersive experiences, more than just ads.
Like events and stuff.
Yeah, pop-up shops, exhibitions, maybe even some kind of cool interactive installations.
So it's about creating buzz, getting people talking.
Exactly. It's more effective than traditional advertising. especially with younger audiences.
They're also using influencers, right?
Yeah, partnering with YouTubers and Instagrammers who have a following in their target demographic.
Reach out to those existing communities.
And Gusen mentioned they're investing in their online presence in the West, too.
Which makes sense. Online shopping is huge.
They're on Amazon already
Yeah.
and building their own international website.
So they've got a lot going on. Localization, events, influencers, online presence.
They're really covering all the bases.
One thing that struck me, is this idea of Pop Mart as a cultural ambassador.
Oh, I like that. BOCom mentioned that, too.
They could introduce Western consumers to a whole new side of Asian pop culture.
Breaking down barriers with cute little figures.
And it's not just about the toys, it's about the values they represent, creativity, self-expression, community.
Those are your universal themes. They resonate with everyone.
So we've learned a lot about Pop Mart, their success, their strategy, their global ambitions.
It's been a fascinating journey, and they've got a really compelling story.
It's a story about creativity, innovation, and understanding what people want.
And they're not afraid to take risks and push boundaries.
They're definitely a company to watch as they continue to grow and evolve.
It's going to be exciting to see what they do next and how they shape the future of the toy industry.
Well, this has been our deep dive into the world of Pop Mart. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
Thanks for joining us.